Hi guys, it's a Friday morning. I'm Craig Martin, 48-year-old South African, a midlife manic business owner and investor. And I must say, what an interesting week on the market, such volatility. Are we perhaps in for a correction? We'll have to wait and see. I just want to come back to the 2020 budget. There's a couple of things that were said by Tito. The one is that he wanted to look at public benefit organizations, and he spoke about this criminal activity and non-compliance, and religious bodies must operate within the boundaries of the law if they want to keep this tax-exempt status. But what I also found interesting in the review and commentary, not in the speech so much, he spoke about how certain tax incentives favor the wealthy. And over the medium term, government's going to have to conduct reviews of this. And I'm wondering whether Section 13(6), dealing with incentives for building allowances, or Section 12J, dealing with incentives for venture capital companies, whether they won't be the things that will come under the spotlight. Anyway, it remains to be seen. But I expect that the sun could set on some of these clauses that are really helping the very wealthy. But when he obviously has some religious organizations or PBOs in mind.
Sometimes we're afraid to take bold measures because we say there will be abuse and fraud. But in actual fact, if we want to grab the animal by the scruff of its neck, we must be bold and take chances sometimes to win and not to fail. There will be a renewed focus on illicit and criminal activity, including non-compliance by some religious public benefit organizations. Religious bodies must operate within the strict boundaries of the law if they are to enjoy any tax-exempt status.
Let's be honest, we've seen those guys looking like gangsters, driving their Range Rovers with tinted windows, and a posse of bodyguards with gold around their necks looking like rappers. And they're doing this all in the name of, well, God's blessing them. But where's the blessing coming from? From fleecing their flock. Somehow they managed to escape the imaginary fires of hell, but I say to Tito, tax the hell out of them. Unfortunately, if he does go down this route, you can't just have tax a la carte. You've got to look at all religious organizations, tax them on interest, on their assets, whatever it's going to be, because most of these organizations rely on voluntary donations. So it's not income or revenue that they're feeling. These donations come from fear, guilt-tripping, misapplied scriptures around tithes, which is basically the church's equivalent of a 10% turnover tax. And some of the large churches, let's face it, are worth more than a small country. I mean, some are a country. Think of the Vatican. So shortly after Italy and Greece joined the European Union, they went through a financial crisis that ended in austerity. And really all they needed to do to get out of the mess was slap a once-off tax on the Roman Catholic and the Greek Orthodox assets in that country, and austerity could have been avoided. I mean, these guys have got crazy money. I think the Roman Catholic Church is $16 billion worth of assets or more. That's what gets reported. So I don't want to get into the moral issues of why it makes sense to tax these so-called exempt organizations, because they're already protected by other laws that allow them to cover over and hide pedophiles, or to enforce doctrine that can stop people from taking life-saving medical treatment. They even encourage physical mutilation and harm without proper medical oversight, putting people's lives at risk. Sure, not all churches, not all religions, but why should taxpayers be protecting this? Ironically, there's still some countries that collect taxes from all members of a country, and they pay this across as the official tax. In fact, they call it church taxes. Take Austria. We know the Catholic Church has much blood guilt on their hands for the support of Adolf Hitler, but part of this could be because in 1939, Hitler introduced a church tax in Austria, where the government collected 1.1% on behalf of the church. So any recognized religious group can make use of it. It's basically the Catholic Church that does it. And Denmark has got a very similar provision, and there's a lot of other very interesting ways that countries deal with churches and how they're taxed. So this is a topic I think we'll keep for another day. If you like this, comment below, pass the video on to somebody else that you think might be interested, and please subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Craig Martin.